IRA, Roth, which is right for you? That's the topic of today's video. I call that the tax control triangle. IRAs, Roths, and other tax-deferred accounts, how do they work? Which is right for you? And how can you figure out which is right for you? Well, oftentimes folks will go to a bank and the teller will recognize that they've got some money sitting around in checking and savings and say, you should really think about putting that into our IRA. It's paying 3%. And this leads to one of the most common misconceptions when it comes to IRAs, Roths, and other type of tax-deferred accounts. They're not actually an investment. Really, the best way to think of that is an IRA is really a bag into which you can place investments. And it would be more accurate to say, we really think you should place some money into an IRA consisting of a 3% CD. So, oftentimes folks don't realize that the bag and the investment are two separate things. Maybe that's not right for you, and you'd rather say, well, I'd really like to maybe buy some Proctor Gamble stock for inside my IRA. Or maybe you don't like Procter & Gamble and you'd rather have some Johnson & Johnson. Or a personal favorite of mine, maybe you'd like some Hershey Foods as your investment inside your IRA. Or maybe you'd want, which company is this? Oh yeah, maybe you'd want some Apple inside your IRA. Whatever you have inside your IRA, that's your choice. You don't just have to have the 3% CD through the bank. Now there's many different types of bags out there. You've got your IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, thrift savings plans, deferred compensation plans, and the list goes on and on and on. These are all types of plans in which, as money goes into them, the person depositing the money gets a write-off on their tax return. So it helps them lower their taxes at this time. As the accounts are inside the bag shelters this money from taxation. Think of it like it lets you carry this money home with you, carry these investments to the future, carry them into retirement without the bag tearing open and things dropping out as if you were just trying to hold it in your bare hands. With these accounts, you actually get a tax write-off when the money goes into the account. So that's pre-tax. These accounts grow year in and year out. But what you have to realize is when it comes to retirement, when you begin making withdrawals from these accounts, you do then pay taxes on that money when it is withdrawn. Whatever amount you withdraw, whether it's principal or interest, doesn't matter, it is taxable. Now that is the traditional IRA, 401k, 403b, 457, cumulatively known as qualified types of accounts. So these types of qualified accounts are great if you think your taxes are going to be lower in the future. And that's true for some folks, but it's not true for all. And since taxation of Social Security has become a thing, it's actually not true for most of our clients. It's important to know that there's not just paper bags when you go to the grocery store, there's other types of bags as well. So we're using the paper bag to represent a traditional IRA, but back in the late 70s, early 80s, there were folks who had, what we would call a non-deductible or tax-deferred IRA. Kind of like, in my example here, the plastic bag. With these types of accounts, they are funded with post-tax dollars. So this is money that you earn, you pay income tax on, then it goes into the account. But after it's in the account, it continues to grow year in and year out without taxes. Now when you retire, withdrawals have two parts. The withdrawal of growth is taxable. The withdrawal of principal is tax-free. Because you've already paid the tax on the money when it went in, you don't have to pay it a second time when it comes out. But the growth, that's never been taxed, so that's why you have to pay tax on that upon the withdrawals in retirement. So back in the late 90s, a senator by the name of Roth introduced into America the Roth IRA. I think of it like a canvas bag. It's a little bit more durable and a little bit more robust for holding investments for retirement. And this is a wonderful type of account in that it is funded with post-tax dollars, so you've already paid tax on that money before it goes in there, but it grows year in and year out once it's in the account without taxes. And then once you spend the money, it's tax-free. Whether it's principal or interest does not matter. So in deciding which is best for you, the traditional paper bag IRA, the tax-deferred, non-deductible plastic bag IRA, or the canvas bag Roth IRA, it all comes down to taxation. Is the taxation going to be greater now or in the future in your situation? So which one's right for you? A traditional qualified IRA, a non-deductible tax-deferred IRA, or a tax-exempt Roth IRA? It's all about retirement income. Which time period will you be paying less taxes, now or in the future? Or are you not really sure? That helps determine which of the three IRAs is best for you. If you believe that your taxation is higher now than it will be in the future, a traditional qualified IRA is probably best for you. If you believe that the taxation in the future could be greater than it is now, and for many of our clients, once they find themselves in their 70s and taking required minimum distributions, the taxation actually is higher in retirement, then it makes more sense to pay the taxes now and have the Roth IRA, so you have all that tax-free money in the future. Now, something important to realize is you can actually move money from one IRA to another. You can do this by changing out the investments and having it be the same type of IRA. So let's say you have Proctor Gamble stock inside your IRA. If you think that Procter & Gamble is going to underperform Johnson & Johnson, you can sell your Procter & Gamble stock and buy Johnson & Johnson stock inside your IRA. And there will not be any capital gains tax or any income tax associated with that. So you can mix and match. You can change the groceries that you have inside your grocery bag without creating any taxation. Now you can also change the type of bag that you have as well. You could currently have things in the traditional qualified IRA paper bag, and if it makes sense for your situation, you're actually allowed to take the investments that are in this paper bag, the qualified traditional IRA, and convert them into the canvas bag or the tax-exempt Roth IRA bag. Now when you do this, remember, Roth IRAs have to be funded with post-tax dollars. So when you do this, you will then pay income tax. You'll have to report as income the amount of money that you convert from the traditional IRA to the Roth IRA. Now keep in mind, anybody can do this, regardless of your age and regardless of your income. There's a lot of misconceptions out there where somebody will say, well, I'm not working anymore, so I can't do a Roth. Or, I earn too much money, so I can't do a Roth. Or, I'm too old, I can't do a Roth. And none of those are true when it comes to a Roth conversion. Anybody of any age, any income, and any marital status is allowed to convert money from an IRA to a Roth. Think about it. The government's happy to have you voluntarily pay the taxes now. They'd rather take a little less now than have to hold out and wait for more later. So converting from a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA is a very powerful technique, especially for young retired folks. Let's say you retire at 60, 62 years of age. You've got 8 to 10 years before you have to start taking your required minimum distributions. A good financial advisor will sit with you and your tax return, run down through the numbers, and figure out how much money can you convert without putting yourself into a higher tax bracket. If you're able to convert, let's say, even just $5,000 a year, if you convert $5,000 a year at a very low tax rate from a traditional IRA to a Roth IRA, over 10 years' time, that's $50,000 plus the growth that you've now got in a tax-free position. And one of the very nice things about Roths is once you are in your 70s, if you feel like you don't need the money, you can leave it in there. You don't have to take a required minimum distribution. You can allow the account to continue to grow tax deferred. So thank you for watching the Tax Control Triangle. I hope you found it not only informative, but also enjoyable and helpful. For more videos like this on other topics, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or reach out to us at taylorretirementservices.com. You can email me at matt@taylorretirementservices.com or give us a phone call. The number is 1-800-482-4720. We'd be happy to hear from you, simply to see if there's any way we can help and whether or not you even want our help. Thanks for watching.